As we hit the conclusion of the album, I'm very curious to see which direction this track goes, because we just reached, well, we're one shy from closure, besides the outro. I'm counting the tracks with vocal involvement. Okay, I'm going to listen to the intro and the outro. Well, I've already listened to the intro, but the outro I'll listen to for myself. I'm covering the vocalized tracks in terms of my selection of what I've chosen to spotlight as generally the entirety, for the most part, of The Awakening with You, as promised with Kamelot, which many of you, as I said before, beginning my journey, has been a highly requested name. And I'm finally making good on that because I keep my promises. And with Kamelot, it's always fun to showcase European adjacent, to be fair, again, and inclusive to where exactly they sit, because they are American-based, but they are connected through Napalm Records. They're associated to a couple of our European artists that I'm very familiar with, especially who's graced this album in the past. With Melissa Bonney and Simone Simons, I'm part of New Babylon. Such a great piece. I'm still getting over how good that one is. Many of you know I love the European rock and metal scene, so anything adjacent to that and connected in some fashion obviously is an advantageous listen. And Kamelot's been around for a number of years. Their name circulates quite well. I've heard about it even before I started covering music on this channel generally, even more so European music. I've known the name Kamelot for a while in discussion, though I'd never engaged with it till, I entertained them with you through a selection of tracks off of The Shadow Theory, and then listened to the entirety of the album for myself, and then decided, fully, I'm going to cover the entire album. Not something I do that often, but it's a case-by-case basis, especially because I like to accommodate, in terms of the grand share of artists I cover, and based on many of the names you provide to me in terms of first introduction territory, I want to be diplomatic so I have enough time to afford my schedule to consult every single person, and that's just knowing the share of talent that I cover, that takes time. So, on special occasion, I will highlight entire album collections, or at least near to. And Kamelot, I'm glad I did. The Awakening is a very interesting collaboration of different types of stylings of works. For the most part, again, a general emphasized metal rock presence. That's sort of, again, their mainstay of what I'm familiarized to. And it tends to be what I drive to in metal, though I keep an open door, for other types of genre, feels, or tastes involved in music. Because, certain artists can try around and experiment with different things and have a bit of a variety of approach. And Kamelot does. And I've been very impressed with what I've heard thus far off this album. It was great. But I'm curious to see, as we near the wrap-up, Willow took the accelerated mood down quite a bit from New Babylon. It turned into a piano sentimental, almost like a tragic number apart with the energy. But it certainly fit as a closure piece. So where will my Pantheon Forevermore take us? Let's find out together as, again, we close out the journey for now with Kamelot. But as far as I'm concerned, now that I'm apprised to their talents, doors open for the future. And hopefully I'll be more on time with things. Whenever a new album or publication comes out, I will be there. It's a fun, again, like I said, with any of the artists I've spotlighted on this channel, it's an honor to be able to feature such notable talents and have that collaborative fellowship journey with you, if permitted. And I know there's a variety of approaches we take in terms of the music I consult here. Some of you are probably very knowledgeable Kamelot fans, more advanced in your time and familiarity with them than I am, or some of you are approaching on a first-name basis, or you just never interacted with them before, but maybe you're like me and you've heard them kind of in passing in circulation in different places. I do hope that we have a mixed perspective here in regards to different audience members and their familiarity, and that if in some way, as I grow out music on music as a focus here on the channel, music coverage is something that I've been wanting to do for a long time as a favorite art form for me of a number of years, and with such a close bond as it has in my life, it's the art form I generally appreciate more than any other. And I truly think its capabilities of what you can be offered, especially in the metal and rock territories, are quite impressive. With Kamelot, I think if you've never humored them before, let this be your first point of entry. And of course, it's a summary piece. Maybe you want to go back and enjoy the remainder of the album and grow to this, but in your understanding of them, I'm certainly going to go back and look at their library as well, pre The Shadow Theory. I haven't done that yet. These are the only two albums I've humored, but I've been a real fan of them. I can't wait to hear more. Hopefully, I've been saying this for a little while in terms of previous videos today with Kamelot. I hope I get to go to the live show in August. It'll be in, I'm not jumping to go to Seattle, but it's the closest one. But Kamelot, I forget the other group that's going to be there, begins with a B. I'll try and cover them before the show comes my way. But Kamelot and Zondria, if you've never listened to Zondria before, they're so fantastic in the symphonic metal territory. We've also covered them on the channel. Wonderful presence. I loved engaging with their work. and they're going to be opening for KAMELOT, who, in my opinion, has a bit of a symphonic trait with a power metal dominance. I love that. I love the harder riffs here, but again, that grand atmosphere, just, oh, I can't wait to watch it for myself, hopefully live on stage. I'm trying so hard to make it to the show. I know many of you have probably been graced to, or had the opportunity to go to one of their shows before. I'm sure you could speak to just how exhilarating those opportunities are down below. You have with many of the other artists spotlighted from the European territory specifically, maybe some American as well, but I hope we get to go to a show. I do. I really do. It's been a lot of fun humoring KAMELOT, perhaps, with you. And if you've not had the opportunity yet, again, as I said, you might want to go back to the beginning of the album, start there, and work towards this, but maybe this will be the piece that launches you in. Maybe. Let's enjoy it together and see which direction it takes in terms of an album closure. My Pantheon, Forevermore. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the song, and as always with my coverage, maybe you're not familiar to how I format my videos here. Lyrics are provided on part of the video, so if you want to read along with the narrative of the piece, as you listen to the song, the lyrics will be on the video feed for you, and they'll transition along with the song in time as it begins now. Wilting's a good word to follow willow. Okay, there's our build. More intense. They tease you with a softer opener. Great strings presence here, especially as a closure. Nice rise on that. Quite foreboding. I love it. Fabulous bass. Nice swing on a lighter vocal whisper. It's a good effect. I like if it's just jumping between different moods. We got the sentimental closure effect. Jumping right back in. Strong delivery on that. Really strong. Man, I love the harder basses of the riff here. This is really amplifying the power side. I am the stoic evolution. I like that lyric quite a bit in writing. How that dance with the strings. Nice vocal presence on them, even if it's a background effect. Love it. You know, the album's been a little light on scream presence in comparison to other types of talents I've humored. I love having it as an outro track. It's such a nice surprise. This is what you leave the album on. It's such a high note.
My deepest fear. In memoriam of faded years, stand brave, my Pantheon.
Key change. I wondered if they would. I love that choice here. In the context of conclusions, that is wonderful. Man, you know, I wonder, and again, like I said in the beginning, they tease you. You think following Willow, which it certainly fits, again, like I would say, in narrative cohesion, because you've got Wilting Summer Nights, Wilting, again, being a very descriptive detail and in close harmony with that original song, at least on the Willow Tree concept, at least in illustration. Anywho, you think on the intro, it's soft, it kind of drifts a bit, and then instantly launches right in. It's like, nope, you're going to have a hard number. You're like, yes! Those are the power basis on the riffs. Man, I love that coming back, especially on the outro song. And a really interesting tale on part of a lyrical writing. Again, as I've said in previous coverage as well of Kamelot, I come from an English major perspective. It's what I graduated in. It's my focus. I've written a lot. It's a favorite expression of mine as well, especially in the poetic form. I love writing in poetry, as well as, like, let's say, creative nonfiction in the memoir territory or short story and stuff like that, though I prefer more so memoir and poetry, but I'm open to short stories and styling. Poetry and lyrics really appeals to me, and the imagination of what Kamelot has captured on part of detail and description and their visions, I've been very impressed with. I mean, they're beautifully written songs. They're quite elegant to approach. It's just wonderful formation, though. I love certain of these lines. Dance for me graciously, be a feast for my eyes. I love that. Well, that's kind of repeated, too. But the scope of the song, again, dominant power metal basis. Love the aggressiveness, especially as an outro to the album. Mixed with, we haven't had much of an unclean vocal presence on this album. That was such a good twist. I don't know who did it. I'm not sure if it was Tommy, because he tends to be more of like a higher... he tends to be more of a melodic presence with a higher range. But it's a much softer voice. I don't think I've heard him scream yet. Maybe he can. I don't know necessarily. Again, this is a first introduction very much. Not first introduction. I'm still early in my days compared to, I'm sure, a number of you who could better articulate on that, for sure, if you did know. But I love that path. And again, with the ending, like I said, this has a real closure effect. Explicitly, and I love that wrap-up energy. It doesn't make other albums that, again, maybe intensify towards the end. They bring that original feeling back of the album, whereas maybe some songs depart in mood, like Willow did. And I wondered, if that could be the closure of a softer piece? No, it's revived back to that original basis. Again, I liked Willow. I like softer songs as well. I keep my tastes open, but I like aggressive metal, and this is perfect. And end key change. I hoped they'd do it. That's not often I say that. Usually it's either something that I am surprised by and quite usually elated, or I'm mixed in the territory of it in part with, when I listen to certain songs, there's pieces that I've listened to in a key change scope towards the end where I'm like, I wish I'd kept it as the mainstay presence with the original key. Right? Versus some of her cases where I'm like, no, that totally works. Like, maybe there's enough of a transition in the song to build that way. Like, it's a natural progression, and you're left thinking, okay, it's just a natural fit that we climb that way. Maybe enough time is spent there to make it, to warrant its presence. This, again, is more a case, again, of a ladder. I wasn't expecting, I was hoping for it, and it went that direction. I'm like, yes, it's a perfect incline for the end of the album. Besides the outro track, it works so sufficiently on construction. I'm very grateful. I love hearing the higher vocal range on part of Tommy. It beautifully mapped out the scope of the song towards the end. It just gives it this full unity and presence and potency, quite frankly, on ambition. It's a great end closure song. 100%. It reignites the mainstay feel of Kamelot, but takes in certain elements that maybe have not been used. Again, I said the unclean vocals and key changes towards the end especially. That worked well. but really worked to wrapping up the album. And it's been fun, as I said, to go through the entirety of The Awakening with you and to fill my word. Though I hadn't provided that explicitly, I told you I was covering a generous, I don't think I maybe said it this way, maybe I did, I don't remember exactly, but I was going to cover a generous share of the album. I didn't tell you the entirety, though it was my intention. And I hope you enjoyed that experience with me. Again, certain artists mandate that. And I just felt that it'd be unfulfilling for me to just cover a selection. I felt that Kamelot mandated it. And I think that really helped in amplifying my favorability, which I would say generally, if I were listening to the album on my own, I would like it anyway. But it's much more fun to have a fellowship experience of sorts if I can foster that. Especially where maybe the dynamic approach for you is that you haven't entertained them before. But maybe you now have. What do you think? I'd love to hear about your opinion on The Awakening down below, as well as specifically of my Pantheon Forevermore. I'd love to hear about it down below. But I would also love to be open as well to hearing your general opinion on the album as an entire work. And again, from whatever angle you come from, I welcome everybody. Familiarized Kamelot fans or fresh listeners. Maybe people who have heard the name Kamelot but have not looked deeper. I'd love to hear your opinion down below if you do wish to offer that to us. It was fun to entertain The Awakening with you. And as I said, doors open for more. I'm game. I hope I get to go to a live show. I hope by the next time I cover Kamelot, maybe some of the time between, maybe I can mention it, I don't know exactly, but I hope by the next time I'm sitting here for another Kamelot work, I would have been able to say that Kamelot was the first, to be technical to them, European adjacent band that I've been able to see live. Zondria will be the first explicitly, if that's the case. Not to overshadow Kamelot, but I so hope for that. I've been waiting to be like, I just saw a European group live in America. That'd be great, just to say I've seen one. That would be, oh man, that'd be so cool. And the other group as well, like I said, I'm forgetting their name. It escapes me at the moment. I will try and get to them before the concert makes it my way. But I really hope by the time I get to sit here again with Kamelot, I will be able to tell you that I got to see them live. And I'm sure I'll enjoy the experience. Either way, I'm going to sit back in the time in between and continue to listen to Kamelot again from both The Shadow Theory and now The Awakening. Having entertained it with you, that was fun. I love the experience of entertaining music as a collaborative, enjoyment and shared, if permitted. It's always fun to engage not just again with you who are longtime fans and who sent the name Kamelot my way, and thank you very much for that, as well as many of the other groups you provided by name that we'll get to at some point. Again, I feature a lot of talents here, and for those of you that this is a first introduction, I hope Kamelot is everything you wanted, and hopefully more, and that you've experienced good art with me. Because there still is that in the world, even if maybe in some other facets, because I cover a wide pool here, right, in terms of different artistic languages. Some art is left wanting, but generally what I found in the music space, no. Art is completely alive here. It's thriving. But maybe you just have to know where to find it. I've tried to pave routes for you, perhaps in some of the groups I've spotlighted from a good range intentionally. And with Kamelot, whether it be based on your recommendations or my own familiarity or findings. And with Kamelot, I generally, again, appreciate that a number of you provided the name to me, because it fast-tracked coverage here. And they're a welcome talent, to be sure. I love spotlighting groups as adept as them, especially in the rock and metal sphere. Very advantageous presence. And I do consider myself quite honored to, again, be graced by an ever-presence such as Kamelot on this channel, and to hopefully be able to inspire others to look down the path of maybe the European foray. If you haven't ventured there before, you are missing out, admittedly. And we spend a lot of time here, so if you want to deepen your understanding, just stick with me. We'll cover a lot more groups for sure in the near future. But I hope that was everything that you hoped Kamelot would be, and that the experience was as much fun for you as it was for myself to peruse the majority of the entire album together with you. It definitely makes for a much more fulfilling experience that makes the art much more appreciative for me. I love music, and Kamelot just reinvigorates that interest, as really any group does on this channel, but they're a welcome attribution of my playlist for sure. Thank you so much for watching this video. Before you bounce, feel free to drop a like and comment, subscribe to this channel with a ding on the bell, and share this video with your friends. And consider checking out the description here. There you'll find links to my other channels, as well as addresses to my other social media accounts and ways you can help support my work if you feel so inclined. May God bless you, and looking forward to when our paths cross again.